Good morning. Find this and pin it for those who can't find it otherwise, sometimes including myself. Okay. There we go. Good morning. Oops, who do I see? Two people. Me and somebody. Karen. Hi, Karen. How are you? Good morning, Donna. Back my chair up a little bit. Hi, Penny. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Karen. I hope you're well. I'm thinking of you, Karen. Lots of love your way. Hi, Karen. Thank you for sharing that, Karen, by the way. Hi, Amy. I'm Valita. Thank you. You're on time. That's okay. I was running a minute or so late. I was, my youngest brother got married yesterday, and they got married in Denver, which is where his now wife is from, and, well, where she grew up anyway. So I was looking at those pictures. I got distracted. I was like, whoa, 9:32. Hi, Deb. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. I did take some advice. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Denise asked me to make the cards that we've made into cards since we just have a bunch of backgrounds. So I figured I would do that. You're headed to Butte? Oh, how fun. Cindy, and I saw your comment that you said you've gone 5 days with no crafting. I can't believe you didn't pack and take anything with you. There's a whole post. I can't remember if I saw it on Facebook or on Instagram with Stampin' Storage where they have a whole, it's like a layout setup of how you can take your stamping stuff with you if you're camping in your trailer or whatever the case may be, which I was like, it's pretty genius. Hi, Marlene. Northern Minnesota. That's cool. Thank you for joining me, Deb. I appreciate it. All these people from all over. That's so fun. Okay, so before we get started, I apologize. My eye is, I think I'm still partially asleep. Hi, Bonnie. So we're going to make the cards that make the backgrounds into cards. And what we're going to do, though, is someone else asked me, and I apologize, I really can't remember who this was, but someone else asked me if we could make a background and then add some gilded leafing to it. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to do this part first, and I have a piece of vellum left over. At least I'm pretty sure I had a piece. Yep, here it is. So I have one piece of vellum left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and alcohol this first with the blends. And then we're going to have to let it dry, and then we will add the gilded leafing. I don't really know how it's going to work, and here is why I'm going to say that. So I know that gilded leafing, you can put it on with various methods, but I kind of wanted it to be, what's the best word to use? So it really is very natural and organic looking. So it's not like in a line. So what you can do is you can put it on with Versamark and then the heat and stick powder. But I kind of want it to be like soft and blobby, kind of like that one DSP that we have. So I'm really not sure how it's going to work because I've not heated on vellum before. However, with the heat and stick powder, you definitely don't want to heat it long like you would with embossing powder. So it might work out fine. So we're going to go ahead and alcohol that first. Then we will do this once it's dry. And then we'll make the cards, and then we'll finish up with that last one. And I did see somebody's joining from Puerto Rico. How fun. How fun just to think I'm in Puerto Rico. If only I was there in body, not just in spirit. That would be really exciting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and flip you down, and I'm going to put this here. One second, I might have to take my sweatshirt off. It's kind of toasty in here. It's funny because it was really chilly again last night. It almost felt like fall. Crazily enough, it almost felt like fall. And then this morning we took the dog for a much shorter walk, but now it's really weird because it's almost getting like super warm again, but it's not warm enough still for the air conditioning. So it could just be stuffy in here because I have Mr. contained to the area so he doesn't roam around the house and eat things. Mr., in case you missed it, I got we rescued a puppy. So he's part lab and part shepherd, and he really likes to chew things, especially people's shoes. So we have hidden most of our shoes, but all right. So thank you everybody for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and flip you around. Less talking. Also, by the way, while I'm flipping you, if you get sick, just look away for a minute. I'll tell you one more flat. We do have free shipping today only. So if there's something that's been on your wish list that you're dying to get, if you spend $50 or more, they will ship it to you regular shipping. It's not express shipping, but regular shipping, they will ship it for free. So I have still my same cup of alcohol. So you can see I poured that once and I've used that for a whole lot of cards, which is pretty cool. And instead, because we're going to do this with gilding, and I have heard that gilding, or gold, I should say, is really very complimentary for purples. So we're going to do this with purples, and then we will do the gold leafing. I keep saying foiling, the gold leafing. So I have dark rich razzleberry, dark, I believe this is blackberry bliss, dark Highland Heather, and purple posy. That one was like a nyeh. Let's see what else is kind of purplish. Dark lovely lipstick. That might be kind of a little pinky. This is probably my favorite color, Rococo Rose. How did I know? I'm going to bring in, just for a little bit of breakup of the purple, dark misty moonlight. So we'll go with those 4. Now, in order to kind of get this where I want it, and again, I said I have had no issues with, I'll move that back just a little bit, with the blends not working. I'm going to just dip directly when I add the color, and then I will dip, and I'm not going to use this one. I did bring a bowl of water too, just in case I needed it. Probably won't use it today because, you know, I brought it. But anyway, I do have my bigger brush. I'm just going to clean that out with a little water first. And I have my alcohol marker, or my alcohol cup. So again, this is 91% alcohol. You can use 91 to 99. Anything lower than that will not work. So I'm going to start with the darkest, which I believe is Blackberry Bliss. Yes. And I'm going to just dip directly into the alcohol with my blend. So you can do something different if you want. I kind of noticed that I do these in 8s for some reason. I'm not really quite sure why. And I want to try to leave enough room to put some gilded leafing in there. Let's see if I can go to a spot that's a little cleaner so you can see better. Sorry about that. All right, Blackberry Bliss. So we're just going to make this, and then I'll show you what I brought for the rest of our techniques. This was Rich Razzleberry, which is kind of similar color-wise, a little bit to that Blackberry Bliss. Then we have Highland Heather. And even though this is dark Highland Heather, it is pretty light. Okay, and finally, Misty Moonlight. Don't want too much. Just a little dot here and there. Okay, so now I'm going to go back with my water painter and just pick a color and start. I think I'm going to start with the lighter. So that was Highland Heather. And I'm just trying to keep it a little bit wetter. Spread it around. And yeah, I can't really tell the difference between the, well, I guess you kind of can, between the Rich Razzleberry and the Blackberry Bliss. They're pretty close together color-wise. And I'm not sure if anybody had a chance. I know Donna was mentioning she was going to try to do this with vellum and tape it down. If anybody actually did that and it made it any flatter, please let me know. I'll be interested. I didn't try anything. I kind of figured since I've done this 4 mornings in a row that when I'm finished and I pick up Christian, I really need to do some stuff with him. So we just did we watched a movie and we walked Jack, and let's see, that looks pretty good. So I didn't really want to be up here crafting, but it has been nice, I will say. So then we have our Misty Moonlight. And I guess I could have gone the route of doing the yellow and blue making purple if I wanted something super dark. But, okay. So I think that looks pretty good. Let me just rinse this out. And I'm going to move this whole conglomeration. I'm going to grab a couple small blocks. This is a pretty light area, so I'm going to put one over here. And then, let me see if I can do the same on this side in kind of a lighter spot. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to use that to kind of weight it down, and I'm going to move this over. Probably should have done this ahead of time, but I'm going to move this to my Big Shot area. So I'm basically just taking this whole thing and I'm going to move it over and let it dry. And then we'll see about, and it's very, very soft. So I think it's just probably the way the purples are. We could probably certainly go back and add some more. I want to try something really quick before we move off. I'm going to, just to see what it looks like. I'm going to take, I have the darkest color, which is the Blackberry. I was wondering if it would bleed, but I'm guessing not. Just add like a couple really, I'm going to do one with the blue. Dark spaces. You know what I bet you would be a little bit darker is Night of Navy. I'm going to just add just a little bit. Because Night of Navy is almost so dark that when you color with it, it's really hard to distinguish. So I'm going to just do one more thing. Just got my brush one more time. Do the purple first. Just soften it a little bit. And then same with the navy. Just so there's a little bit more of that darker color in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm not going to fiddle with it anymore. And it did, when I spread, it kind of gave that little glop out spot. So remember we had that before when we did the drops. I'm noticing one other thing. It picked up a little pigment here, so I'm just going to wipe that and move it. We can always go back and do our little flicks of Stella. I would do that after the gilding, but I'm guessing since we're doing the gilding, we won't. We'll do our flicks of alcohol once this dries. Okay. So, to show you, let me just move these out of the way. To show you what I grabbed today, and I'll move all this stuff back so I don't have any catastrophes. I grabbed several different stamp sets. So if you happen to have some of these, I picked ones that I thought would really coordinate well with what we did. So this one was an extra. I forgot about that one, but I thought that this would look really nice with the color and contour just because of the random color. So I think we might do this with one of these. I'm not really sure which. This one I kind of grabbed because I was going to do something with it, but I haven't decided yet. Bamboo Beauty also has a lot of really beautiful sentiment. So I grabbed this one also just for if we wanted a sentiment. After the Storm, I thought would look really nice. Maybe with some of these orange backgrounds. So I'm really still not 100% sure what I'm going to do. And I did grab a couple other ones just because there's really nice sentiments in here. I also thought if we wanted to, we could die cut the trees and in black and maybe put it in front of this would look kind of cool. So I thought that would be a really neat idea as well. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to just start in the meantime with the color contour and we will go from there. So I thought that one was pretty simple to do. This one's got a little bit of stuff on it. So what I'm going to do really quickly before I do anything else is I'm going to trim these down. And I'm going to trim them down to 3, and I think this one already is 3 3/4 by 5. yeah, that way I can back them with something else. So I'm going to take off some from each side. That way I'm resting assured that it's actually square. Go here. And I want to make sure that I cut off, since this part is white and then this has that extra flap. Should cut this first. I'll go to 3 3/4. And I did just adhere, every one of these, I adhered them to a thick white. So I'm just going to cut the rest of these down while I have them. This one might have to be just a little bit tinier. Oops. Because I glued them a little bit wacky. Okay, there's that one, and one more. This one actually doesn't look so bad, believe it or not. I think this really is one of my favorites. I need just a little bit more of a trim. Oh gosh, look, I'm cutting so much of that off, it's kind of making me upset. Let's see if I can pull enough of this that maybe we could even use this as an inside strip for something. So I'm gonna save that little piece there. The rest of these are kind of really not glued to anything, so I'm just moving them off just for the, and this one I realized I missed just a little, I think I missed a little gluing, but that's okay. That one's no biggie. And then the other one was just that 4x4 watercolor. So I'm gonna put these down here, and we'll go with, so I'm going to try to be really simple with this. And one other thing to mention, make sure I have it, StazOn is what you want to use. And the reason you want to use that is because it does dry very quickly. And with the vellum, things can tend to get a little bit slippery. So the only thing about StazOn though, and I'm just going to tell you this just for general purposes, if you leave this uninked, or I should say, if you leave this open, it does come with this little plastic piece. I always keep that on there. But if you leave this sitting, because it is alcohol, it will dry out extremely fast. So I would highly recommend when you buy StazOn, and this is not the StazOn refill, this is Memento, but you should always buy your refill with your ink. So that one is for Memento. And same thing with StazOn. They do sell refills for this. So you should always, it is fast drying. When you use it on a stamp, so especially on vellum, you have to make sure that you're really purposeful when you're with your stamping. That way it doesn't move all over the place. But I always highly recommend that you buy this. If you do not recap it, it will dry out really quickly. So I'm going to actually leave that until I have these mounted. So we have a couple different stamps. And kind of like what I think, I say this so often, it probably sounds insanely ridiculous, but when I first bought this, of course, I didn't buy the dies because I was like, I don't really need the dies. It's just something extra that I don't need. I kind of wish I would have bought them at this point, but I didn't, so that it is what it is. I'm just going to use the outline images though, so I have the leaf, the flower, and then this other, oh, there's a bud too, missed that one. This other flower, because since it has so much color, I don't want to take away from the background that we created. So I'm just mounting those, and I have one other stamp mount. I must have used it for something, but it would fit this one better, so we're just going to do this one as it is. So I'm going to do this first, and just to make sure with the photopolymer that I have it where I want it, I'm actually going to stamp down onto. As a matter of fact, this needs a little refill. It's when it sticks to your stamp, your ink pad does, it's probably just a little bit too dry. So I'm just going to ink that just a little bit. And you can see it does absorb pretty quickly. The only kind of puddle is still here. So since it's freshly inked, I don't have to tap too hard. And I want to make sure that it's really nicely inked since we won't really have the opportunity to line it up correctly again. So I'm going to stamp one here and just push and pull straight up, okay? We'll do a a leaf image over here, kind of in the green. Maybe we can add the bud over there. Doesn't really necessarily have to be any specific direction. So it's kind of up to you, whatever it is you want to do, adding your leaves in. So if you notice, when I press this one down, it did twist. So this one might have a little blur to it. It does have just a little bit. It's hard to see probably on camera, but vellum will move. So you really want to make sure that you're very intentional with your stamping if you're trying to avoid the movement. And that one I didn't ink up exactly precisely, but that's okay. Add a couple more buds. Sometimes I struggle with some of these, just feeling like I did or didn't put them on there correctly. And I'm also trying to make sure if I have any black, I don't want to smudge, because it definitely will. So that looks pretty good. I don't want to overwhelm it. And we'll put a sentiment kind of in the center there. So there's that one. I'm just going to slide these over. And then for this one, I'm going to use the big stamp. So this is just a larger stamped image. Trying to decide which way I want to go. Just like that. And I am trying to press, this block is a little bit big for the stamp, as I said, but I am trying to press kind of all over so I don't miss anything. And you also, when you're using photopolymer, you want to give it a second for the ink to come off the stamp onto whatever you're stamping on, especially because it's vellum. So that's a little bit lighter. That's okay. No big deal. It is what it is. I'm going to add another little leaf image at the bottom here. And we'll just add one more bud up in the corner. Okay, so there's that one. And I'm just going to cover this up while we change from one to the other. So we have those two from this, and then we'll add some backgrounding and a sentiment. I really wish I would have inked this one better, but also this one was the one where I forgot to put adhesive on the center, so it's not really matted as well to the cardstock layer as it could be, so I think that probably interfered a little bit, but still, it's fine. It looks okay. So we're going to set those two on the side. Then we have After the Storm. Now these, I'm not really 100% sure how they're going to look. So what I want to do with this before I do anything, I'm actually going to clean this off because I do need this block for this big ray. And one other thing with StazOn, it will not completely come off unless you use StazOn cleaner. So it kind of leaves a little black tint to your stamp, which is fine. It's still completely usable. And if you drop it on the floor, it makes it easier for you to find. But if you do use StazOn cleaner, it will remove the StazOn ink completely. All right. And I just want to scoot these back in here so I have this where I want. Another thing you could do is these little dots. Maybe I'll keep those out. That might be fun for something. Maybe add a little dottage. I'm going to put this over here. Might add that to the other card. All right, so there was that one again. That was Color and Contour. That does have a coordinating die. So I want to see exactly what this looks like because I didn't sticker these. I just kind of pulled them off. So I want to see if we do this. And I don't really know what it would look like in black. So I have to see. Let me see what this looks like in general. This is the one that Frenchie designed, which is really cool. Okay, there's that part. And then I want to see what the lines look like. When you have these backgrounds, it's kind of almost nicer to see them with black because it really makes it pop. So I don't know. This I think is a little bit too detailed for the StazOn. So what I might try, and again, this is not a Stampin' Up, an ink that Stampin' Up carries, but I really like it a lot. The only thing is it does take a little bit more to dry. So I want to try one of these and just see what the resolution is. So this is just the smaller cloud because that ink is definitely going to move. So this is a pigment ink. It does take a little bit more to dry, but it gives an amazing detail. Let me try this one. And the lid folds over. I really like that too. Does give a nice detail. I don't think I'm going to use this one because I think it's just a little bit too much, but I am going to use the cloud and the fine line. So we could have this so it's kind of like as if this is the sun, and we'll add a couple clouds. Let's see where I want to go with this. Remember, I'm trying to press and not wiggle because I don't want it to move. So there's our clouds. And then what we'll have is the clouds and the sun. We'll have this like, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to muck it up or not. Ooh, I'm torn. I'm torn. Maybe we'll just do the clouds. I think I'm going to leave that because I'm afraid I'm going to overdo it and it's going to be ruining. I think I'm going to add one more cloud. And then maybe we'll just do our sentiment. Yeah, I'm going to leave it because I kind of like it how it is. So again, this is not an ink that Stampin' Up carries. You can get it pretty much, I'm sure, at any box store. I also have a link to this on my blog. You can get it on Amazon for sure, but gives you really good details. The only thing is you're going to have to really let this dry because it is a pigment-based ink, so it stays wet for much, much longer. I'm going to set that over here on the side. And for this last one, actually not the last one, it's the next to last one, I am going to do the trees. I have to do just a little bit of maintenance work, so just bear with me just 1 second. Here's my little tool. There it is. I just never poked the pieces out of this, and if you do, it die cuts much better, so bear with me just 1 second. I'll have to get all of them. I also have done this before with the pearlized or the pearlescent paper, and it makes a really, really beautiful card. That would be kind of cool if we had a pearlescent paper that was like a black or a charcoal. That would be super, super nice. But thus far, we don't. Okay. But I can tell you one other thing. There is a paper that will be in the holiday catalog that I think will be perfect. Perfect for that die because it's really, really unique. All right, so I'm going to grab my black cardstock. And let me see if I have a piece that's big enough. Scrap. Nope, don't think so. So I'm going to grab just a piece. And let's see about how big this is. Probably about 1/4. So I think this is about 4 inches if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, almost. So we'll do 3 3/4. And let's see. That looks like that's pretty good. So I am going to put the adhesive sheet on here. That way when we pull it off, it'll stick really simply. So this does come in these long 6 by 12 sheets, and they have 3 strips down them. So I'm just using a little piece that's left over here, just so you're wondering why this crazy shape. So what I'm going to do is flip this over, and obviously you could use either side. I'm not sure why I think one side is the front and one is the back, but apparently I do. And I'm going to just nip this little piece because I could use this too. All right, so you take this. This is actually where the adhesive is, oddly enough. You'd think it'd be on the other side, but it's not. So I'm just going to kind of space this because it doesn't have to be on the whole thing, but at least it gives me a good space. And then this part here is the release paper. Just kind of spreading it out a little bit. And then these two little pieces I'll just save for something else. So what I'm going to do is, oops, put this on here. Doesn't really have to be exactly lined up, but I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine. In the meantime, I'm going to show you that this one did start to kind of twirl a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, it's dry. I'm going to put this huge block on top of it. This is the biggest block that we have, just to flatten it out while I'm working on the die cutting machine. And I'm just going to run this through. I am going to pass it through back and forth. But one good thing about it, this adhesive sheet will help to remove all those little pieces. So it makes it easier to remove. And this is just going to go on my magnetic cutting plate. So I'm just going to run this through my Big Shot. Excuse me there, sir. And I want to show you one other thing, because maybe you don't know this. So just as a little FYI, when you pick this up, oops, hold on. When you pick this up, this is pretty well die cut. But you'll notice there's some little spots here that aren't really quite die cut as well as everything else is. Let me just pull this little panel out. So another really good tip when you have really, really fine details of stuff is, I'm making sure this is still lined up. Put it in face up so the die part is facing up, and it actually makes better contact with the rollers that are pushing it through the machine. And you will get a much cleaner die cut the first time. So I'm going to run this back through. And the other reason why I put this on the top is because it does die cut to that, and sometimes I forget. I try to keep one of my plates pretty much not really die cut, and you can see, I don't know if you can, but it is so much more pushed through there. So that's just another little tip for you. So then you can see this will just completely fall away. Okay, so there's that. This middle piece, you could probably put some kind of a neat sentiment on that, but so I'm going to move this, save that black. And then the cool part is, when you pull this out, for the most part, most of the die, so I'm just going to pull this through, most of the stuff that doesn't really fit will tap out pretty easily. Now, if it doesn't, what will happen is when you pull the backing off, it'll all come off really, really simply. So I'm going to put this on the side. And then, and here's another one I saved. I cut this one day and didn't use it. The other part about this is it does have elements to fill in the leaf. So if you want leaves on your trees, die cut leaves, that does work as well. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for, I guess. I'm going to put this here. And then I want to put this onto something. So this one I'm actually going to finish up. So I'm going to put it with, it has white behind it already. I'm going to put some of the, what is the color that I picked for that? I think that was Cajun Craze we used. Oh, whatever that orange color we used to have would have been amazing. Grapefruit Grove would have looked really pretty back there. But I kind of want something that's got a little bit of vividness to it, or I could use Pale Papaya. But I think I'm going to use, wondering what mango. That's a little bit too bright. Maybe I'll go opposite and do some Cabana and then one white. I think I'm going to do that. So Cabana and then onto a thick white base. So I just have to trim this one little piece and then we'll pop this together. So 5 1/4, got to trim this down to 4. And Only other thing we really need for this is a sentiment. So I am going to have to trim this. So I'm going to kind of put it at the bottom. Those little pieces can hang off. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here first. That way I know how much I need to trim before I put it onto that base layer. So I'm just going to peel. Usually peels pretty simply. Peel the backing off because it was in multiple pieces. So when you do this, just watch this. It's pretty cool. It pulls off almost all of, look at all those little pieces that came off. So all those little doodads. Now, obviously this does work better if you're using a whole entire piece as opposed to me, how I pulled them off in the sections. So if this is something that is a little bit frustrating to you, you might want to use one continuous sheet instead of not lining them up like I did earlier. I'm just going to pull this. Look at that, how simple. Get that little piece off. And then if you missed any pieces, you can kind of go behind with your finger and it will generally, except for this one little piece is making me look like a fibber, it will generally stick and come right out. Come on, you bugger. There we go. So pretty easy. And then I'll just toss all those scraps. And I want to grab, where is it? Oh my gosh, Rachel, come on. I don't know what I did with it. I wanted to grab my silicone mat, but can't find it. So I'm going to line this up as close as I can to the bottom. And I kind of want these things centered, so I'm going to go over just a smidge. So I'm just slightly pressing it. That way I can see if I have it even, and then I'll push it onto my card, which that looks really cool. I'll take my snips and just trim off this little piece and this little piece. And I'm going to leave the tree overhang though. So just really going to press it with your fingers once you have it on there. Make sure it sticks. Okay, and then I got myself out a brand new spanking glue. So I'm going to put this on to the Coastal Cabana layer. Ooh, that's really pretty. I love it. And then put this onto my Thick Whisper white layer. And the only other thing we have to do is add some sort of a sentiment. But the nice part again is since we have the glue, we can kind of move this a little bit, adjust it so it lines up perfectly. And let me just hit this with my bone folder. There you go. I mean, this is almost so pretty that you don't even need a sentiment. I will definitely add one to it eventually, but that's really, really cute. And then we have our other couple over here. So there's that one. I kind of like some of these because they have, that's why I got this stamp set, because it has really, really simple sentiments. And I think I'm going to use one of those for this. And I'm going to go with, thank you so much. Okay. And I probably could stick with black for this, but just because I want to bring in the color a little bit more, I'm going to go ahead and pull out just a little bit darker. I'm going to go with Bermuda Bay for the thank you, and then I'm just going to trim this off. So if you have a little strip from trimming your paper, this would be even better because then you really wouldn't have to cut it at all. Oops, I made a goof of that one. Hold on one second. Let me try. Going over here, I got the edge in there and I don't want to do that, so. Okay. Ha! That time I messed up the ch. Thank you so much. Probably because I have a bigger block than I should. All right, so there's that one. I'm just going to trim this out. You could use a little die if you wanted to, but just for the sake of being a little bit speedier. All right, so there will be that. Put this away. Okay, and I'm probably, just because this is pretty slim, I'm going to put this up on dimensionals just to bring a little bit more attention to it. And then that will be it. This might be a little, no, perfect. I thought that would be too long. I'm trying not to touch it too much because it's still just slightly wet. Okay. I love that. It looks so pretty, especially just the black with the color. So striking. Really, really pretty. Love, love, love that one. That one makes me happy. That makes everything that we did, even though some of the things didn't turn out well, makes it worthwhile. So let me look at this one because I'm going to do this one. Even the darkest night will pass and the sun will rise. That's a beautiful sentiment. And I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to stamp this very, very carefully and allow it time to dry. But I'm going to do it on something. That way it's already done. So I think I'm going to put this onto, I don't know if mango would work. Let me try this one on Balmy Blue and see what that looks like. Balmy Blue, and I think I'm going to put a light gray layer. So I'm still sitting that to the side because I'm really not 100% confident that it's dry. All right. There's that. And I'm going to do with Smoky Slate. Let me just take a peek. That's too big. Hold on. Might as well trim it while I have it. Okay. Okay, I like that one. I'm going to adhere this. I'm going to adhere both of these together, and then I will put the sentiment on. And I'm going to try really to be careful. See how successful I am. Because, oh my goodness, the dog is like snoring now. He's thinking, who are you talking to? And why won't you shut up? So this, you can still see from the shine, it's still wet. So I'm trying my best not to touch it a lot. This VersaFine ink, except if you're going to dry it with a heat tool, it does really take a good amount of time to dry. And I can tell you that because I have smudged many, many a card. I'm trying my very best not to even touch that area whatsoever. That looks pretty even. All right, and then I have my sentiment, which I am going to stamp in that same ink, but I want to test it first just to make sure it looks okay. It's a really great detail ink, so I really, really like that one. Yeah. It brings out all the things in a stamp that you sometimes you can't figure out what it may be once you stamp it. I really wish they would carry this ink. It is amazing. It's made by the same people that make StazOn and Versamark and whatever that other one is we use. I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to try really to hold it still so I don't smudge or smear it. Beautiful. Even the darkest night will pass and the sun will rise. So really simple. Just one layer card is what this is. I'm going to leave this one here just while I wipe a couple of these off really quickly so I don't have too much stuff out here and I don't gum it up. You can hear in the background somebody else is getting more trees cut down today. from that storm a couple weeks ago. Okay, so I'm going to finish one more card. I'm only going to finish this one. That way we can go back to that other technique. I'm still going to put this one on top. And I promise I will go back and show you guys these when we're done. And I still didn't finish this one, but we'll work with it. So thanks for lending an ear. That's always nice. Happy birthday. Sorry for what I said when I was hangry. I love it. That's cute. Or we have some nicer sentiments. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I totally forgot. What about what was in here? I did use this one for something. Here for you now and in better days ahead. Let's do that one. Here for you now. Just because we'll kind of stick with the stamp set at least. So same thing again. And then we'll have to I'll add the in better days ahead later. So you could stamp this onto a piece of cardstock if you kind of wanted it to pop. But the backgrounds are so pretty, I kind of really feel bad covering them up. So I think I'm just going to stick with what I've done. And I'm just going to stamp this one on as well. I've used this once, but again, since I'm using it with a different ink and onto a card that I can't fix, worst case scenario, we could cover it up. I just want to make sure it works okay. You want it here or here? I'm going to put it over here. Go down and just press. Shh, 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 shh. It's okay. And then this one we're going to put on a really bright background. It's okay, buddy. Lay down. Lay down. All right. So this one we used the Melon Mambo. And I feel like we also did Bermuda Bay. I don't know how exactly those two would look crazy as a background together. But we're gonna look and see. I feel like it would look nicer with the pink and then the regular. Shh, shh, shh. Jack, it's okay, bud. Relax. Okay, it's just me. Just you and me. Just you and I. Let's see. I like that, or I don't know, I kind of almost like the Bermuda to the pink background. Now, I'm going to go with the pink. So the Bermuda will be the base, and I'm going to trim this down. And if you don't like this one, you can always pick a different color, depending on if you recreate it or not. But I think this one, sometimes, friend Rhonda would appreciate this. Rhonda loves a nice, bright card. And just for a little, something a little extra. And I thought about this yesterday. I wanted to show you guys this. I totally thought about this yesterday. What would have been really cool with this, in addition to this, is if I put a little bit of this mesh behind it, behind that sentiment, because this almost reminds me of like a fishing mesh. So if you're going to recreate this card, try one with this metallic mesh behind the sentiment. I thought it would be really pretty. So just thinking of that, I think I'm going to put a little bit of metallic mesh. We'll just do like a little faux knot. And I'm going to attempt to put this on without smooching it up. So let's see what we can do. So I'm going to make my faux knot. And put this over here. Yep, that should look good. So I'm going to trim this just so I have enough that I can adhere it on both sides. I think that is the best ribbon ever. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this. Now this may still be a teeny bit wet. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put it down and I'm not going to move it. So I'm just going to put it wherever it is and I'm not moving it. It may absorb a little bit of the ink and that is okay. The other thing is I think I wanted my bow on this side. So I'm going to put it here. And nope, a little too far. Put it here and then pick it and wrap it around. And then, oops, it got a little bit tight. That's okay. Because I've got it kind of mounted in one spot. I think we're okay. See if I can slide this over here a little bit. There we go. That looks good. And then I'm just going to pick this up and press it. And I know it's a little bit long. So we could trim it, oops, if we felt like we wanted to. We'll pull it just a little bit more. The other thing you could do is wait till it's dry. That would be my advice to you, because you don't want to pull it too tight and it kind of pulls the card, but that's pretty good. So this is pressed. I'm just going to go ahead and trim this excess off. I could always use this for something else. And same for this. That way it's not too bulky back there since those two pieces are pressed. So there's that. And then same thing again. I'm just going to liquid glue this. To the mango. Trying not to touch it because it's probably still just slightly wet. And later on, I'll have to really give these a super good press. Where is my bone folder? Keep losing it. Okay. And pop this down. The other thing with this one, I missed a teeny bit, so I probably, once it's dry, I'm going to have to go back and put a little bit of glue there to get it flat, but otherwise it does look very good. It matches up really nicely. So for our final thing, I'm going to move, let me just move a couple of these things out of the way because we're not going to be able to finish that other card, but I at least do kind of want to do something to the one that we did with the heat and stick. So this one I'm going to sit over here as well because it does still have that black. The only one that was really dry was this one because we just used the black paper. Okay, so put that there, that there. Here is the last one. This was our piece that we just worked on. So just to make this a little bit easier, actually I'm not going to use, I'm going to use this. I'm going to tape this down just a smidge, because I really don't know where I want to put that gilded leafing. So we'll just kind of see. And now that I'm looking at the taping, I don't know if anybody said that they did try the whole taping thing. Did you? Did it work? Do you know? I'm going to open up my coffee filter here and just kind of set this on the side. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat tool on so you're going to hear this in the background, okay? I have my heat and stick powder, which again, we don't want to do it super duper long. So here's your choices for this since we're trying to do something a little bit softer. You could either take your Versamark, and I'm going to try this in a couple spots and just kind of make like a little squiggle. Okay. You could also take a blender pen and pick up your Versamark and draw some dots. Or if you're fortunate enough to have still a Versamarker, you can kind of do the same thing. I don't want too much. And it does move the ink a little bit, so just be aware of that. I'm just going to move that. Then I'm going to sprinkle. And I probably should have done this one to something different, but I have a lot of this powder. It's wasn't too smart, let's put it that way. I'm going to take my heat and stick powder and just kind of sprinkle it so it sticks to those couple spaces. Okay, so you can, hopefully you can see, it does have some powdery residue areas in a couple different spots. Okay, so there's that. Let me dump this back. And when you heat this, it's going to be quick, okay? Because if you heat it too long, it loses its stick. So we're going to give it like a, I don't even know how long of a count, but it's not going to be very long. And then I have my gilded leafing here. We'll see if this works. I don't even know if this is or isn't going to work, so this is a test. The Emergency Broadcast Stamping Crafting Network. Just going to heat it. You can see it kind of it goes from a powder to a glistening look. All right, and that's it. Now, apparently it doesn't lose its sticky super fast. So, nope, it's sticky. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, I'm going to try to use a couple of the bigger pieces. Might make it kind of easier. Remember, you are going to need a little brush to brush off the excess with. Can't tell if there's any more here because of the light. Yep, there's a big spot right here. I think I'm going to have to order some more of this since it's free shipping. I'm going to say this kind of does look pretty cool. I really wasn't sure what it was going to look like. The dog is going to be covered in gilded leafing. I think that was all because I didn't really have a whole lot. I'm going to try to put one more little splotch right over here. Okay. I'm just going to pick these little pieces up that I can, kind of try to get them back in there if possible, close the lid. And, oh, I must have put my little foot brush away. Oh, Lordy. Still cracking myself up using a foot brush, but, you know, it does work well. So I'm going to put these things in here really quickly while I have it down here. Dang, what happened to my foot brush? So, in the meantime, I'm going to use, do I have a harder brush? I'm going to use this. It's a pretty rough bristle brush. Just to kind of. Okay, that's good enough. All right, and then I'm going to dump this in the trash. Okay, and pull this. All right, we have to at least finish this one. I don't even know what time it is, but we got to finish this one up because I think it's going to look really pretty. So here's that. I'm finally going to throw this paper away. I need to put this onto a white panel. See if that kind of matches. Good. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something different because I have been putting it on there. I'm going to put it on here. That way I know it's... Oh my God, wouldn't you know, I got to the end, and guess what? I don't think I have any more of this. Fiddles. Fiddle, fiddle, fiddle. All right, so I'm going to move on to, if I have, hopefully I have one somewhere. Hold on 1 second for me. So sorry about that. Well, there's another thing I need to get. Oh, thank goodness. I had another one. That's a miracle. I don't even know I had two of them. This is my last one. So I'm going to put the Stampin' Seal Plus on here so I ensure that it's to the edge for when I trim it down. This could be bad because of the way it sticks, but I guess we're only one way to find out, right? I'm going to put a little bit in the middle. Okay. All right. Well, now I know what I got to order with my order. So I'm going to put this, and I'm going to try to make sure that I get most of the gilding on there. So if we go to like corner, let me go down a little bit because I want this big hunk over here to go. Like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, nice. All right, let me get my trimmer out. And I'm going to take a little bit off of each side. Go this way first. Oh, that's got a lot of gilding on it. I'm trying not to remove too much of that if I can. 3 3/4. That's pretty good. So that's kind of cool. First time. See what it looks like. And let me grab. So I think what I'm going to do is, what do you think about navy and then a purple purple as the accent piece. So navy is our base, and then purple as our accent. And I think I don't want to go with a super dark purple. You know, this is the time when I should have rich razzleberry, but since it is just not a color I love, I do not even own one piece of it. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? Because it totally would look beautiful right now. Do you have any purples that are magenta? It's a little too bright. Daggone it, Rachel. Well, that's another thing I'm going to order. Blackberry Bliss. We're going to use that one because the other one would look excellent. So I'm gonna get myself a pack of rich razzleberry. So 5 1/4 by 4. Oh, that's already trimmed. Perfect. And then we're gonna have to add some sort of a little sentiment onto this one, and then we'll be wrapping it up. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do for this card. It probably could do with some additional stamping or decoration of some sort, but I don't really know what to do with it, but I think it's going to be a vertical card. So, hey, at least we know it works. That was what someone asked, so now we do know that it works. Whoever it was that asked, thank you for asking. I don't remember who it was, but someone suggested it. Okay, and we're going to fold, whoops, hold on. Fold that over, make sure it's lined up. Where's my bone folder? All right, so this does need some sort of a sentiment for sure. One's kind of be nice, like the thanks for lending an ear. Oh, let's see, what about these though? I'm gonna do that one, a true friend. I like that sentiment, that's really nice. Okay, but I am going to put it onto white because I feel like it would detract a little bit. It needs like a little pop of something. But let me see what my rich razzleberry looks like. It probably, I do have the re-inker. It probably does need to be re-inked, even though I hardly ever use it. It's kind of a crazy-ish color. I don't know if anybody else thinks that or if it's just me, but it's almost like a brownish purple, and I think that's probably why I don't reach for it that often. All right, so let me ink this. Do a little test stamp here. Beautiful. I don't know what kind of shape I'm going to put this on. It would probably look really great with an oval of some sort, but we'll have to make do with something different. Let me see what my rectangles look like. Is too small? Oh my gosh, that's perfect. So the wider of the rectangles, the smallest one, that sentiment fits exactly. It's amazing. So I'm going to just die cut this. Let me grab a little piece of purple tape so I make sure that it lines up correctly. And we'll put that on. Kind of feel like it needs like a backing something or other, but I just don't know what. Oh, I got an idea. Let me see. And I know it's over here. Hold up. Hold the phone. Let me see. Got that one. And I'm going to go to the next size up. So I'm going to use the first and the second. And it is going to be coming back. So I'm sure some of you still have this. Let's see if I can find it in my little pile here. Bear with me just 1 second. Here it is. The brushed foil. I'm going to use a piece of the gold. And I'm going to die cut that. I feel like it'll kind of be complementary to the gold. Okay. So let me just move this and this. And chuck that. So my next die cut piece here. And it fits just perfectly on this little scrap. All right, let me run this through. Oh, buddy, don't eat that. That wasn't for you. Okay. Okay, put this over here until I can put it away. All right. And I think just because it needs a little bit of height, I'm going to put this on dimensionals. It's not bad. Only 9 minutes past. That's pretty good for me. And I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put this on dimensionals too. All right, let me scoot all this stuff out of the way so you can see these cards when I'm done. Beauty-is. Move all these things because we're going to need some room because we definitely made some very cool cards. So I am still going to attempt to be live again tomorrow. I will do my very best. We have done a week's worth of the alcohol vellum, which I had absolutely no plans on what I was going to do. So this was a wonderful, fun idea. Even some of them that did or didn't turn out, we still made something out of it. This one I still would have to finish with something. So that's the other one. And then we did end up doing the alcohol with the blends onto the linen paper. So that kind of worked out. And then we did our other crocodile card the other day. So that one was pretty fun. I think that was it, because the first day when we did it with the other stuff, we ended up with the peach card. So at least we got a bunch of other stuff created from it, which is really, really fun. So I want to thank you all so very much for joining me. I hope you liked it. Whoever gave me this last suggestion about adding the gilded leafing, thank you for saying that, because I think it turned out really, really cool. Much better than I envisioned it would, because quite honestly, I thought it was going to be a flop. Because you know how sometimes you make something and you're thinking about it, like, for example, using the wrong kind of alcohol when you're doing alcohol blending. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. But I am happy that you all joined me so I could at least try out some things with you. And we saw if they did or didn't work, which is always fun to stamp and craft along with your friends. So I want to thank you all so very much for joining me. I hope you have had as much fun as I did. Remember that Stampin' Up! Free shipping is today only. So if that is something you're interested in and you need to get anything, be happy if you would order through me. However, if you already have a demonstrator, please make sure that you are using them as well. If you do shop with me, you can go to my online store, which is rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Always lots of stuff over there. Hopefully you'll come away with some good ideas as well. And I will post tomorrow. I'm 90% sure I should be able to at least get on and do a little something. So I will post tomorrow and let you know a little bit better of the estimate of time. I do love this stamp set, in case you haven't seen it. This is, again, the one that Frenchie designed for her $1 million stamp set, which is pretty awesome. Maybe one day I'll get to do one, and mine will probably say all kinds of goofy stuff, all the things that I say, and they'll be like, no, Rachel, you can't say that either. No, you can't say that either. Nope. So anyway, I love this stamp set. I think it's really, really pretty. But there's lots of fun new stamps. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be also retiring very soon. So if there's something that you want to get, you really should make sure that you get it soon. The spring catalog is coming to a close. And then eventually we'll be able to see the new holiday catalog, which will be fun for you guys. Kind of gets us in the spirit and gets us through some of the hot days in the summer so we can have fun and be silly and then move on to winter. So I thank you all so very much. I think I'm going to finally throw my scrap paper towel away. Thank you so very much for joining me. I will take pictures of all the new cards we created. If you've missed any of the other cards, this is the other one that we did on the watercolor paper. I forgot about that. But if you missed any of the other cards, I do have everything posted on my blog, which if you're new, my blog is rachthestamper.com. You can find everything we've done there. I do try to keep up with it as quickly as I'm able to, but you can find everything that we've done, all the measurements and the supplies used, everything is listed there as well. And I thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you real soon.